A community transmission of the highly infectious Delta variant is possibly happening now in Metro Manila. This is according to the Octa Research Group. Based on their data, NCR is experiencing a spike of COVID-19 cases for the last 7 days. The region reported 1,740 new infections last weekend, the highest since May 10. Sandali, baka mayroon tayong sablay dun sa data na yon. Paki-check na laang yung headline natin. Okay, connected to all these COVID cases, the DBM Chief Secretary Wendell Avisado has been reported to have contracted COVID-19 as well, and he has taken a leave, and he has been advised by his doctors na, can you just please stay home, because he had a quadruple bypass several years ago. Alam nyo po, I chose to comment on that early because parang awa nyo na, nananawagan na kami doon sa mga nanay, tatay, mga lolo, lola na hindi marunong magpahinga. Marami na kayong naabot sa buhay. You have achieved so much in life. And we know that you want to serve the nation. But please, you know, when you have a quadruple bypass and you are in the senior years of your life like myself, I think priority is family, God, and yung service to the nation. Ibigay na kasi naman natin sa mga bata. Hindi yung kung kailan na tayo o puti ang buhok, inaangkin pa natin yung dapat ibigay sa mga bata. Okay, carrying on with the news. The government will allow vaccination sites in Metro Manila to operate till the evening, hanggang gabi. Papayagan ang mga vaccination sites na manatiling magbukas at magbakuna. This will be during the implementation of the enhanced community quarantine. Interior Secretary Eduardo Año said this move will help NCR or Metro Manila to reach the target 250,000 daily inoculations or 4 million vaccine shots during the 2-week ECQ. Okay, so yan po, no, inuulit namin. Papayagang manatiling bukas. Vaccine sites will be allowed to stay open until the evening to ensure continued vaccinations. And another secured medal for the Philippines in the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Boxer Yumir Marshall knocked out his Armenian foe in a quick quarterfinal round yesterday. With this win, Marshall assured himself of at least a bronze medal. Hindi lang po at least kasi mahirap yata. Ilan sila nagbasagan ng muka just to get to the semifinals, the quarterfinals. So, wag niyo pong maliitin yung bronze. This is the first time since 1932 that the Philippines snatched 3 Olympic medals. Kumbaga, nakatatlo na, 2 bronze at 1 gold. So, wag nating maliitin, and I ask all of you, sincerely, humbly, nakikiusap po ako, please pray that God will grant our hardworking, fighting athletes the chance to win the gold. Yung pong sa boxing lalo na. Okay. And for the day's quotation, it comes from the book of Nahum, chapter 1, verse 7. The Lord is a good refuge in times of trouble. He cares for those who trust Him. Simple lang po. Maano po, no? Napakasimpleng bagay sa panahon ng indulto, panahon ng taghirap, kaguluhan, tayo ay magkubli sa Panginoon. Kalalim, magkubli sa Panginoon kasi siya po ay isang maaasahang tagapagtanggol at mahal niya at inaaruga niya, inaalagaan niya yung mga nagtitiwala sa kanya. And I chose that for today kasi honestly, ako po gumising ng alas 5. Nakita ko pati yung haring araw, nakikipagsuntukan na rin doon sa mga ulap para lang makalabas. And it's been a heavy weekend. Left and right ang announcements and checkpoint this, checkpoint that. Sabi nga namin, kala ba namin GCQ, yung ECQ next week pa? Bakit bigla nagtayuan ng kadaming checkpoint para ng martial law? Kanina nga umaga, hinahanap ko yung kantang Checkpoint Charlie. Bigla na-realize ko, hindi pala Checkpoint Charlie because Checkpoint Charlie was a code for checkpoints in Vietnam. And since we are in the Philippines, it would be Checkpoint Delta. Anyway, ayan na po. Let's now move on to the main part of the program. And just in case, for those of you who have not subscribed to Cignal TV, okay, please do so para mas malawak, mas maganda ang entertainment, information, and news selection ninyo because we carry everything and you are watching us. You can watch Agenda either on Channel 8 or Channel 250 for high definition. And for those of you na mas techy kayo, mas gusto ninyo Facebook you can watch us on facebook.com/onenewsph. Okay, now baka hindi nyo namalayan, it was, I think, yesterday, the 40th day after the death of Benigno Simeon, Benigno Coangco, hindi Ninoy. Benigno Coangco Aquino, or President Pinoy, he passed away 40 days ago, and biglang napaalalahanan ako kapon, Kuya, 40th day na ni Pinoy. Ay, ganun ba? Alam nyo kaming mga medyo nakakatanda, inoobserbahan pa yung ika-40 araw, ika-siyam, yung mga pasyam. So, let's go to someone very familiar to all of you. Medyo bata pa, pero nagsenador na rin ito. Okay, let's go to our first guest, none other than former Senator and cousin of Pinoy, Bam Aquino. Good morning to you, Bam.
Good morning. Good morning, Cito. Good to see you again.
Pagkatawagan first name basis ngayon, hindi ka na senador eh.
Bam is fine as always, Cito. Of course, si Boss Cito was the one of the people we looked up to when I was still a young host on TV almost 20 years ago.
Tsaka hindi ba nagkasama tayo sa Go Negosyo?
That's right. Magkasama rin tayo nun for a while, Cito. So good morning and good to see you.
Good morning. I wish it were in, brighter, cheerier, conditions, but we are commemorating the 40th day of the passing of your cousin, Noynoy. And sadly, a good friend of my dad,
Yes.
your uncle mo ba, lolo mo?
Actually, Lolo, Cito, thank you for saying your condolences. Kahapon po namatay si Lolo Ermi.
Oo, Ermi Aquino served Tarlac well, served the government well. So,
Yes.
medyo, kasi parang pinatay ko na nga lang yung pinapanood ko kagabi kasi ang nakita ko, 12th year of your Tita Cory, 40th day of Noynoy, and then Ermi passed away.
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. So medyo mabigat, no? Ano ba ang sitwasyon natin? What's the situation and what are the plans, especially on the 40th day of Noynoy's passing?
Yes, actually, Cito, during this pandemic, we also lost Tita Tessie, Senator Oreta, and then recently we also lost Congressman Bong Aquino Lapus, was also an uncle of ours, no? So marami ho talaga sa pamilyang ang namatay, and palagay ko po kaparehas po yan ng maraming pamilya ngayon na marami ho talagang loved ones na umaalis po sa atin, no? But today ho, actually,
Oh, especially
Opo.
malungkot sa akin si Tita Tessie mo, Bam, kasi
Opo.
she was part of a Bible group that I used to lead with
Yes.
ERAP. So
Yes, yes,
nung
yes, yes.
namatay si Tessie, talagang medyo sabi ko, aray, masakit ang tama nun sa akin. Anyway,
Opo.
so, okay, going,
So
moving forward, Bam.
actually today, Cito, is the 40th day of Pinoy. No? Ngayon po yung 40th day niya.
Okay.
But we decided to have the masses yesterday because it was Sunday and because it was also the 12th death anniversary of Tita Cory. Pero ngayon po talaga yung actual 40th day niya. Kahapon po, we had 40 masses all over the country. And last night, no, the main mass was on the Kaya Natin Facebook page. It was presided over by Father Manoling Francisco, is also a relative. Today naman po, at 6 p.m., meron pong misa si Cardinal Tagle mula po sa Rome. No? So he will be doing his mass from Rome. So it will be on the Facebook page of the Noynoy and Aquino Foundation. Everyone is invited to also join that mass. And at 8 p.m., meron naman pong tribute ang ilang OPM artists para kay Pinoy. Dahil alam po natin na si Pinoy mahilig na mahilig po talaga sa musika at syempre po sa musikang Pilipino. That will be on the Radyo Katipunan Facebook page naman po. So there are number of activities Cito sa araw na ito at kahapon din upang maalala natin si President Noy at yung kanyang liderato sa ating bansa.
Okay, now, on a personal note, how does all of this affect you, Bam? Kasi alam ko parang nanahimik ka, you know, you minded your own business, you did not, you were never, you know, creating a stir. Pero parang I can't help but say that it seems that the burden is now on your shoulder.
Well, palagay ko Cito, if we were to learn something from Pinoy, it's that we are all called no to do something for our country. Nung namatay siya, medyo biglaan po 'yon nung June 24. Alam ho namin na may sakit siya, alam ho namin na may pinagdadaanan siya, pero yung mamatay siya on June 24 was really quite shocking, no? I was texting with him on the Sunday before the Thursday na namatay po siya. And tinatanong ko siya kung kumusta siya. And we had already been arranging for me to visit him, no? Kasi hindi ho siyang madaling bisitahin because of his health and because of the pandemic. And honestly, Cito, nagsisi nga ako na hindi ko minadali yung pagbisita sa kanya. No? Sabi ko, sige, I'll see you next week. Only to find out na pagdating po ng Huwebes ay patay na siya. So it came as a shock to me and to many of our countrymen. At palagay ko, nung namatay siya, marami sa atin yung talagang napaisip no, tungkol sa kanya, tungkol sa kanyang leadership, tungkol po sa ating bansa, tungkol sa sitwasyon ng ating bansa. Before he passed away, Cito, and before all of these tributes, no, for practically 5 years, isa siya sa pinaka-trolled, pinaka-fake news, pinaka-kinikriticize ng mga Pilipino. And all of these tributes have come out. And of course, masaya ako na itong mga tribute ito, lumabas na rin. Pero syempre, may konting pait rin sa puso na hindi niya nakita itong mga tribute na ito. No? When he passed away, he was really the subject of a lot of fake news and criticism. No? So, marami sa mga kababayan natin, kasama na ako, talagang napaisip na siguro, you know, kung maalala natin yung time ni Pinoy, maalala natin na sinabi niya, kayo ang boss ko. Na during that time, talagang yung mga lingkod bayan natin, inuuna nila yung taong bayan na talagang primary ang tao no compared to everybody else, compared to everybody who served in government. And sana naman no yung mga kababayan natin no kung maiisip nila si Pinoy, maiisip natin na dapat mabalik natin yon na yung taong bayan yung dapat nangingibabaw sa lahat. And I don't think Cito, it's just on a family shoulders no, palagay ko mali yung ganung klaseng konsepto. Kung si Pinoy mismo yung tatanungin mo, ang sasabihin niya siguro dapat yung mga boss, no, tayong taong bayan, tayo dapat yung gumawa ng kailangan natin gawin para sa ating kapwa-tao. No? Ngayon na maraming naghihirap, we're going into another lockdown. And alam mo, Cito, pag nag-lockdown, ang ibig sabihin niyan is that people don't go to work, wala silang mauuwi sa kanilang pamilya, mas maraming kababayan natin yung maghihirap. Kailangan talaga tayong tumulong sa isa't isa. We need to help each other, we need to be able to support each other. At palagay ko, yan yung pinakamagandang ligasiya ni Pinoy, no, na yung taong bayan, siya rin dapat yung aktibo, makilahok, makiisa sa ating mga kababayan at sa mga nangyayari rin sa ating bansa.
Well, right now, what have you been up to? Kasi sabi ko nga, medyo nawala ka sa radar. and you're now talking about everyone should be helping everybody.
Yes.
For your part, what have you been up to and where are all of this leading to? Meron ka bang, sabi nga ng programa, agenda?
Well, when I left government Cito noong 2019, sabi ko there are other ways to help, no? Pero syempre, pag hindi ka na politiko, wala na nakatutok na camera sa mukha mo, wala ka ng press bureau na pwede ka mag-press release anytime, no? But a lot of my time has been with Kaya Natin, no? I'm chairman of Kaya Natin, and Kaya Natin continues to support our local government leaders.
Pasensya ka na, Bam, ha? Medyo in isolation din ako dito sa Lipa, sa Manukan. So,
Okay.
hindi ko na alam yung Kaya Natin. Could you elaborate on what Kaya
Citos,
Natin is?
Si Kaya Natin was an NGO formed by Jessie Robredo, Grace Padaca, and Among Ed Pandillo. Almost a decade ago, I became chairman. I think it was probably in 2018 or 2019. I continue to be chairman now. Kami po yung primary na nagkukuha po ng donations, no, na isinasagawa naman po ng Office of the Vice President, no. So in the past year, Cito, we've raised honestly over 100 million pesos, no, for our frontliners, for communities na nahihirapan dahil sa pandemya, for communities na natamaan ng dilubyo, no, last year and even this year. Tuloy-tuloy po yan. And hindi na po alam ng marami, but we've also been putting together different best practices, no, of local government leaders na sinishare naman namin sa iba't ibang mga local government leaders na nahihirapan dito sa ating pandemya. No, for a time, we were able to talk to our friends in Cebu who were handling the pandemic much better, no? I don't know now, no, because of Delta, pero previously hindi talaga sila nag-lockdown kasi nagawa nila ng paraan yung isolation, testing, tsaka contact tracing po nila. So we would share their best practices with other local government leaders, no, through IATF Visayas. Marami po, no, iba't ibang mga gawain. We continue to support, of course, our SMEs, no? Kami po ni Ding Dong Dantes put up a show called the Dong Bam Nego Show on Facebook na para po sa mga napilitang magnegosyo sa panahon ngayon, sa pandemya. And Cito, yung one of my latest things na I'm quite proud of also is that we put up a startup called Pasa Job, no? It's a startup, it's an app na pwede makatulong sa mga kababayan nating maghanap ng trabaho yun, no, during the pandemic, no, a high-tech way to be able to find jobs for your countrymen, no, makatulong tayong makahanap ng trabaho para sa mga kasama natin. So all of these, of course, are under the radar, pero palagay ko, Cito, mahalaga pa rin na whether you're in politics or you're not in politics, andyan pa rin yung puso mo sa serbisyo, tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung paggawa mo ng mga solusyon para sa mga kababayan natin.
Okay, Bam, when you started out in media, you became quite a celebrity. Siyempre, gwapo eh. Matalino pa. Di siyempre, panalo na kagad. And then, you joined us, of course, you were part of the team sa Go Negosyo, and tayo ay mga pusang gala all over the Philippines. So, you gained traction to the point that you became a politician, and it was, I know, because at that time I had also been offered, to run, and I said, ayaw ni Lord Boss. Sabi ni Lord Boss, wag. So I didn't run, but you ran, and so you became a senator. You've been from private sector to senator to private sector.
Yes.
Sa tingin mo, saan mas epektibo yung talagang which role made a real difference in real people?
Definitely in politics, ito. Kasi yung capacity mo to help in legislation, for example, milyong tao talaga yung matutulungan mo. Of course, the Free College Act was probably the best law that I passed in my lifetime. But even the Go Negosyo Act, which became so important to DTI and Go Negosyo, was my first law, no? So
Teka, Bam. Teka, magkaliwanagan tayo kasi maraming mga pumapel dyan sa mga batas-batas na yan eh. Meron akong alam isang tao, credit grabbing para do sa universal healthcare eh. Pero nung kinausap ko yung mga author, sabi, saling pusa lang yung damuhong yan sa amin eh. Now, this Free College Act, kasi sinabi pa ni Presidente sa kanyang, credit where credit is due. He said that he had passed this. Pero I never heard, or you were apparently never given credit for passing that bill.
Yes. Well, hindi naman mahalaga yung credit,
Well,
Sito, no?
no.
It's done, no? But,
No,
uh,
you can be humble for all you want. But I'm a journalist, and I need
sige.
to put
So,
the facts on the table. Did you or did you not pass that law?
yes, I'm the main sponsor of the Free College Act at Cito. You can ask any of the senators, yung nagdepensa niyan, yung nagbuo niyan, yung nag-hearing, yung nakipagdebate, yung kumausap sa private sector, sa mga private schools. That was my office, Cito, no? So, that was my agenda, since yan yung pangalan ng show natin. That was the agenda for the 17th Congress.
Nakikinating ka na.
Which is
Baka
to pass
mawalan ako ng trabaho dito.
which is to pass the Free College Act. And to be fair to the Senate, it was a multi-party effort. No? Walang tumutol dyan sa Senado.
But you
We
were
had
the
a lot of
principal sponsor.
yes, we had a lot of back and forth with the departments. Honestly, yung mga ibang departamento pa yung may mga issue dyan. Pero pagdating sa legislation sa Senate, solid kami dyan. No? We were solid with passing that law. And that law took 30 years, Sito, no? Hindi yan madaling batas na maipasa, pero napasa yan. Now, of course, it's the president who signed the law. So,
Yeah.
give him credit for signing the law. He could have vetoed it, no?
Yeah.
Kasi alam ko, meron din sa kabinete niya, gustong ipa-veto yun sa kanya. He signed it.
Oh.
So, give him credit for signing it. Pero, pagdating sa batas, Sito, kailangan mo ng author, kailangan mo ng sponsor, kailangan mo na magtutulak niyan. And in the Senate, ako yung sponsor niyan. I was the chairman of education at that time. And it was also Senator Chis Escudero who finalized it, no, at the last point, no, kasi natanggal kami sa majority at some point, naging vice chair ako, but more or less during that time, ako yung main sponsor niyan, Cito. So
Yeah.
that's there. And pag wala ka na kasi sa politika, it's not that important anymore to you, Cito,
Well,
kung
yeah,
sino
it
yung
may not-
sponsor or not. But
Yeah,
for me, ang mas mahalaga dyan is that it was a law that was passed by an opposition senator, no? Signed by a president na hindi mo kakampi and implemented right now, no, by CHED. So, kita natin na up to now, binibigyan niya ng halaga. And that's important for me because alam mo, Sito, there are a lot of laws. Pagkapasa, hindi naman pinopondohan. O pagkapasa, hindi naman nai-implement. No? So, masakit yan for legislators. So, the fact that it's implemented, it's funded, and it's even heralded o nabibigyan siya ng tamang pansin, para sa akin, mahalaga yan. Pero kahit anong sabihin mo, syempre, the work that we put in there, nandyan talaga yan. And yung mga tao na nagbuo niyan, alam nila kung gaano kahalaga yung batas na yan.
Okay, I don't know if you actually realize, but I heard from Popoy De Vera, the CHED chairman,
Yes.
na yung first batch ay nag-graduate this
Yes.
month or last month. So, kanya medyo na-excite ako nung binanggit mo yun eh.
Totoo yan, Sito. Alam mo, once in a while, meron pa ring magme-message sa Facebook. Senator Bam, nakatapos kami dahil sa batas na yan. And that, of course, is such a big emotional boost, no? Hindi lang sa akin, Sito. Yung buong opisina ko, we focused on this law for months, no? Ilang buwan namin tinrabaho yan. So, malaking bagay talaga na it's implemented, it's supported, and that there is a generation na nakapagtapos dahil dyan.
Okay, we'll go for a quick break, Bam, and when we come back, let's talk about will there be a return of Senator Bam Aquino and what are your other plans or magiging isa ka na naman bang kompetensya sa media here on Agenda. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. back here on Agenda, and joining us this morning is none other than former Senator Bam Aquino. Okay, so Bam, my question earlier was, ano yung mas epektibo? Which role did you find more useful, effective, being senator or being a private citizen? And your response was, politics gives you a lot of power, infrastructure, etc.
Yes.
Now, after what happened in the last election, and I don't want to cast aspersion or suspicion, pero marami nga nagsabi medyo weird yung naging huling eleksyon kasi para bang nakalimutan ng tao yung performance at biglang nauso yung Facebook, yung troll, yung popularity, etc. Does it still inspire you to run for senator?
Well, alam mo, Cito, yung pagiging nasa pwesto kasi, hindi yan completely up to you eh. You know what I mean, no? It's not just up to you. I think yung mahalaga is meron kang heart of service, meron kang kagustuhan na manilbihan. And for me naman, that's always been there. Even nung nasa ANC tayong dalawa, or I was in Studio 23, you were in ANC, and I was handling current affairs, no? That heart for service is there. Na kung saan ka ilalagay ng Diyos, doon ka manilbihan. No, it just so happened na I was given 6 years to serve in the Senate, and I feel I did my best, and meron naman tayong mga magagandang nagawa doon. Pero at this point in my life, iba na siguro yung gusto ni Lord na maybe sa private sector ka naman, no? So obviously, wherever the Lord puts you, you should serve. No, I think that's the most important part. Iba ang politika ngayon, Cito. It's very different from when I entered in 2013. It took a different turn in 2016 kasi hindi lang to sa Pilipinas, Cito, sa buong mundo to, no? Naging the rise of Facebook, the rise of how do I say it?
International intervention,
lahat yan, nangyari yan around 2016. And then, I'm sure in 2022, iba na naman yung magiging forma niyan, no? So, wherever you are, I think you're supposed to serve. I think that's really the calling, di ba? Now, honestly, in 2022, hindi yung pagtakbo yung priority ko. I don't think that's my priority right now. My priority is to try to bring different groups together. And honestly, Cito, mas madali na gawin yun na hindi ka politiko, no? Or hindi ka tumatakbo. Kasi kapag tumatakbo ka, you're really focused on winning for yourself, no? And you have to be. Mahalaga yun na focused ka na manalo ka kung tumatakbo ka. Pero kung hindi ka tumatakbo, mas kaya mong tumawid sa iba't ibang mga grupo, kausapin yung iba't ibang mga sektor, and really try to bring people together with a common agenda or with a common goal for next year, no?
Pasensya na, magalit sa akin. Kilala mo naman ako, diretsahan ako magsalita eh. Is there any convincing people who are set in their own special motives or in their personal agenda or political greed? Kasi parang pag pinakinggan ko lahat ng mga players in the political arena right now, those who are proclaimed and still holding back, parang what you just said is to quote your uncle's favorite song, The Impossible Dream.
Oh, but we have to try, Cito, eh. We have to try. Eh. And kita mo, and this is what I point to in recent history. Makita mo yung Malaysia. Paano nanalo yung oposisyon sa Malaysia? Yung dalawang magkaaway, si Mahathir tsaka si Anwar. Take note, si Mahathir yung nagpakulong kay Anwar. Nagtulungan sila, they put together a coalition, and they were able to beat Prime Minister Razak. Diba? Tinan mo yung nangyari sa Amerika. You have people like Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, working with Joe Biden, working with former Bush officials, working with the widow of John McCain, no, to try to put together a broad coalition to compete against President Trump, who we know was quite powerful then and even now na hindi na siya presidente.
But
so it has happened. It has happened in our recent history that different groups have come together. Kahit nag-aaway-away noon o kahit iba-iba yung gusto nila, nakahanap sila ng common ground, no, to be able to move forward.
I love your examples, but my question is, are our political leaders in the Philippines that mature Because,
We will find out, Sito. We will find out. At kung hindi man yung mga leaders, yung mga taong sa paligid nila, yung mga supporters nila, yung mga sektor na tumutulong sa kanila, a lot of groups are really seeing that with the crisis we have right now, yung crisis ng pandemya, yung crisis sa ekonomiya, we really need to be able to to talk. We need to be able to talk, to speak to each other as human beings, as God's creations, as brothers and sisters in one way or the other. And isang tabi muna natin yung away, isang tabi muna natin yung bangayan, be able just to talk and see kung meron bang posibilidad. I think because of social media in the last few years, Sito, we're just shouting at each other eh. May slogan ako, may slogan ka, nag-aaway na lang tayo. But there are ways to talk to each other na pwede kayo mag heart to heart, pwede nyong hanapin kung ano yung mga posibleng kaya nyong that you can work together on. And honestly, itong pandemic na nangyayari sa ating bansa, I think it forces all of us to really do things differently. Hindi na pwede yung gaya ng dati na, ito kulay ko, ito kulay mo, tapos na yung laban, di ba? Hindi pwede. Because of the pandemic, because so many of our countrymen naghihirap talaga, kailangan iba rin yung pananaw natin tsaka yung pagtingin natin sa susunod na eleksyon. And I think, Sito, that job of maybe trying to bring a coalition together or trying to talk to different groups, palagay ko yun yung isa na pwede kong gawin kung hindi ko masyadong bibigyan ng pansin yung pagtakbo. Kasi kung gusto mo tumakbo, hindi mo pwede sabihin itong mga to, kailangan may panig ka na kaagad, kailangan, you need to close your ranks right away. No? So for me, this is the priority right now, no, to try to see if people can still come together. And if we fail, Sito, kung hindi natin magawa yan, and then hindi natin nagawa, no? But right now, I think yun yung mahalaga. And hindi ako nag-iisa dito. Marami sa mga iba't ibang mga sektor really want to see groups coming together for the country. Dahil marami nga tayong problemang hinaharap ngayon.
Do you see anyone, because, pasensya na, Bam, no? But
Yeah.
people will probably be asking, what qualifies you? From where I'm seated, you still look young. Mukha ka pa rin bata. So, malamang iisipin ng mga thunders na, naku, yung batang si Bam, huwag nyo nang pasinin niya, bata pa kasi yan, kanya hindi niya alam yung reality. Tapos, hindi, kasi dilawan yan hindi natin kakampihan. How do you overcome all of that to the point where you can actually get these old people to listen to you? I'm reminded of Stephen Yung Bible character na Stephen laging ape dahil bata siya Sinabihan siya ni Paul, wag kang papasindak kung bata ka. But anyway, I'm out of tune already. But what qualifies you? What makes you think you can pull it?
Well, it's been working so far, Sito. So, alam mo, sometimes somebody just has to try
Okay.
Kung meron ring isang sigurong lesson from Pinoy's life, no? Kapag, if you're called, you have to stand up and take that step forward, di ba? Ganun lang naman yun And right now, siguro, dahil I've always treated people with respect, I've always been fair, no? And alam nila na hindi ako naglo-low blow sa politika. We always deal with people on that level, no? Palagay ko that's a factor na nakakatulong rin sa sitwasyon ko. But wag nating maliitin yung kabataan, Sito, no? Yung kabataan yung magde-decide kung sino yung magiging leaders natin for 2022. Our country is a young country. Most voters will be in their 20s and 30s. I'm already in my 40s, so I'm not exactly young anymore, Sito. Baka napagkakamalan mula akong medyo baby face, no? Pero I'm not even in that demographic anymore. No, mas matanda na ako sa demographic ng mga Pilipinong pipili kung sino yung magiging pinuno natin. So, maybe somebody has to try, no? Somebody has to do that step. Mas sanay na ngayon yung mga tao na away ka agad So baka itong estilo na pwede ba mag-usap muna tayo, let's see if we can work together. Ako honestly, I feel that a lot of groups find it refreshing na merong ibang boses rin dito sa ating politika na iba yung gustong gawin.
Okay, so your game plan is I gotta get the team together. I got to get them talking. Mapagsama-sama natin sila, magbati-bati sila. At kung mangyari yon, are you going to run for the Senate?
Honestly, Sito, it's really not a priority right now, no. Yung just the fact na gusto mo hindi pa nga magbati-bati, mag-usap-usap lang muna. No, yun siguro yung pinakaunang step, no. Wala pa nga tayo dun sa first step na yon, no? So let's get people talking. And by the way, Cito, I'm not talking about just politicians, ha? Kasi yung mga lumalapit na grupo, we have, a group of young political leaders who are in their 20s and 30s na mga board members and vice mayors, no? Sila yung KNP group, nakatipunan na nagkakaisang Pilipino. They formed a new party. They do want to pursue, trying to get different groups together. We have groups from the Christian sector. Actually, Cito, baka kilala mo rin yung mga pinag-uusapan ko who are also trying to group together, no, to forge a new path for our country. Napakaraming grupo, hindi lang mga politiko. And I think that's important. Mahalaga na yung nag-uusap-usap para maging bagong puwersa, no, so to speak, sa susunod na eleksyon. Dapat you have the leaders, you have the faces there, but you also have all of these sectors who are looking for change na nag-uusap-usap rin at nagsasama-sama. So, putting together this broad coalition, hindi talaga siya madali, no? But somebody has to try, Cito, no? Sa kailangan, meron talagang sumubok. And, after Pinoy passed away, nung June 24, I think a lot of people started to, think twice and thrice and four times about our country and how we can save this country, no? Kung paano natin to pwedeng masalba pa at kung paano tayo pwedeng magtulungan pa para sa ating bansa. And I'm hoping that renewed spirit, no, will be able to drive us forward.
Last question, Bam. Do we still have heroes left?
Oo naman.
In your
Oo
family?
naman, Cito.
Hindi kasi, alam mo, iniisip ko, prangkahan lang. Tayo, mga nasa hanay pa tayo ng may kaya eh. Pero wala nang pinaniniwala ang hero yung mga mahirap. Pagkatapos yung mga OFW, wala na rin silang hero. Parang natatakot nga ako magsalita ng hero kasi yung huling column ng tatay ko bago siya natigok about looking for heroes eh. Do we still have heroes left?
We look for heroes in the wrong places kasi, Cito, eh. Hinahanap natin siya sa mga politiko. Again, no, yung heroes natin, kung naghahanap tayo ng messianic figure, hindi talaga siya mangyayari. And kung meron man magpresenta ng messianic figure, palagay ko, hindi yun totoo, no? The heroes we find in ourselves, the heroes we find in our fellow Filipinos. Sa kaya natin, Cito, let me just give this quick example. Nung nag-raise kami the first time we raised funds for our frontliners, I think we hit about 60 to 70 million Filipinos. But the unique thing is ginawa namin yon through online platforms, no? Through GCash, Lazada, Shopee, no? Iba't ibang mga paraan para makakuha ng donasyon. At karamihan ng mga nag-donate doon sa tulong sa mga frontliners, this is in 2020, Cito, hindi sila mga milyonaryo o bilyonaryo that we usually see for donations. These are regular Filipinos giving 300 pesos, 500 pesos, 1,000 pesos kit para sa ating frontliners, no? PPE, mask, goggles, no, kung ano-ano, no? Nung nagkaroon ng dilubyo, nakita na naman namin yan. Common Filipinos giving to their fellow Filipinos. Yun yung heroes natin. Nung nabuo yung community pantry, no? Nakita natin, no? People just providing food for each other. Yun yung heroes natin, no? Kahapon, nagpa-swab ako, Cito, and yung nurse na nag-swab sa akin, here is a person na humaharap siya every day. He's putting himself at risk every day to be able to help other people, to be able to find out about their health. Yun, hero siya. So, I think we just look for heroes in the wrong places. Hanapin natin siya sa taong bayan. At kung sa taong bayan tayo maghahanap, maahanap natin siya. Now, recently, yung 5th anniversary ng West Philippine Sea decision came out and I saw the clip of that captain na kapag pupunta siya dun sa contested waters, talagang binabanatan niya yung Chinese Coast Guard, di ba? This is the Philippines territory. I think everybody saw that clip, no? Naging viral yon. Ayun talaga, naiyak ako dun sa kanyang clip kasi hero siya. No, si Heidi Lind at yung ating Olympic medalist, they're heroes for striving so hard to represent our country. No? So palagi ko lang, Cito, nandyan yung mga bayani natin. Kailangan lang natin siyang hanapin sa tamang lugar. Hindi na sa mga politiko. Tama na yung mga politiko. Sa taong bayan natin siyang hanapin at mahahanap natin yung mga bayani na kailangan natin.
I remember what Kamala Harris mentioned eh. There is no longer room for great grand gestures. We need to see small noble acts from small noble people. Parang ganun yung kanyang theme. And tama ka, kasi masyado na tayong nasanay na yung mga malakas ang dating. Yung mga sabi nga ni Ramon ang typhoon, yun yung ginagawa nating hero. Anyway, so to end the morning's show with Bam Aquino, so you will be a peacemaker, mediator, but not necessarily a senatorial candidate.
Right now, Cito, yung priority is really to bring groups together, no? And I mean that with my whole heart, no? And before I go, gusto ko lang po paalala muli, Cito, if I may. 40th day activities po for Pinoy. Si Cardinal Tagle will be giving a mass from Rome. That's 6 p.m. on the Noynoy and Aquino Foundation Facebook page. And of course, at 8 p.m., there is an OPM tribute of numerous artists for Pinoy on the Radyo Katipunan Facebook page. Sana po you can join us. Thank you po. Thank you, Cito.
Okay, thank you very much, Bam. And I look forward to speaking with you more, particularly on this mission, this quest you have set on to resolve, reconcile, and get parties talking. And it's no longer about opposition or administration or Duterte versus Aquino. I think we're all past that, especially Delta variant. We need to preserve the Republic and the Filipino people. Thank you for joining us and giving us a very inspiring insight to where the heroes are. Thank you. Okay, that, ladies and gentlemen, is former Senator Bam Aquino. And ayan, siguro ngayon naintindihan nyo na kung bakit at paano naging senador si Bam. Dahil nga yung kanyang pananaw, yung idealism, even at his current age, you know, the idealism is still there. Hindi katulad, medyo ako, I have to be honest, no? I've become cynical because the leaders that I have looked up to are cynical. But Bam Aquino has pointed out, we need to see and recognize the heroes in our midst and amongst us. So we will go for a quick break, and when we return, hopefully we can get Joey Concepcion, Presidential Advisor on Entrepreneurship, kasi meron yata silang gagawing town hall meeting regarding the ECQ. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program Agenda. You are watching us via Cignal TV channels 8 and 250, as well as on facebook.com/onenewsph. You can also watch us by downloading the Cignal Play app. And thank you to PLDT for your home fiber internet. Okay, kasi matindi po pag PLDT. Anyway, si Attorney Romy Makalintal nag-text sa akin, sana nga mature na ang ating mga botante para ang mga taong tulad ni Bam Aquino ay manalo. Sayang ang mga taong tulad niya na may sincerity, sayang ang mga taong tulad niya na may sincerity sa public service. Ayan po. So sa mga nanonood, please, in the next election, please make people become more intentional regarding their voting. Okay, now let's move on. Let's bring in Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship, Joey Concepcion. Good morning, Joey. Welcome to the program agenda.
Hi, Cito. Good morning.
You sent people in the media a notice that you guys are going to be hosting a big event on August 4. I think it's something like a town hall meeting. We're just kind of curious what this going to be all about.
Well, I've been working with MMDA Chairman Ben Avalos, no? So basically, we called for the 2-week lockdown, and yeah, what do you call this? I'm glad that IATF, no, and especially Sec Duque, work towards achieving that 2-week lockdown. Well, of course, not everybody in the private sector are happy. Although I've consulted a number of people in the business sector who are for it, but of course, you cannot please everyone. Now, Cito, this town hall on August 4 basically brings all the mayors, of course, MMDA chairman, and the key IATF people who are going to do the implementation of this lockdown. Now, I'd just like to clarify, no, that a lockdown, business people are never for a lockdown, and I've been always against a lockdown and moved for a granular lockdown for the past so many last year and a half, 2 years now, no, and but this one is very different, no. Delta is something that is more infectious, and you can see it all over the ASEAN countries now getting hit. And you can see the numbers in the Philippines. No, Okta called it early, and we felt that it was needed. No, and so this town hall will pull everybody together. National government, Secretary Duque will be there, Secretary Galvez, Vince Dizon, Secretary Anyo. They're key people who will be on the ground to really implement it. What the lockdown buys us, Cito, is time. What we need is to be able to reach the unvaccinated before Delta gets to them. How do we reach them? Through our vaccines. No? So a lockdown without accomplishing massive vaccination, of course, will not work. We will just waste the lockdown. The lockdown also weakens the virus. No? Doesn't kill the virus, just weakens it so that we have a lot more time to mobilize our vaccines. No? So that is the objective. And with this lockdown, we bring in the best health experts to explain what Dr. Althea de Guzman of DOH will be there to present the numbers that convince IATF to change their position from GCQ to ECQ. And how do we make this lockdown successful? Can we accomplish this in 2 weeks? And I think to be able to accomplish it in 2 weeks, both private sector and the national government and the local government must really come together and work together to see that this is successful. We don't want to see the lockdown extended beyond 2 weeks, but it all depends on the numbers as we end the 2 weeks. So the success of this is through teamwork, and that's what we hope to achieve in this town hall meeting, which will bring about close to 1,000 people, companies from the private sector, and of course, all the business organizations will be here. And that's what we would like to see. Unity towards our fight against this Delta.
Is the town hall meeting intended simply to clarify matters, or is it consultative in nature? Because I have to be honest, Joey, I myself supported you, Agenda supported you, and we support the ECQ, 2-week ECQ. But a lot of people sent me feedback because there was this surprise border shutdown that was implemented Saturday evening and is now in full effect. So people are saying, we thought we were being given 1 week to prepare, but suddenly the screws were tightened on mobility. So that was one. Number two, a lot of people I've spoken to are not convinced that it's just going to be for 2 weeks. It is going to be at least 3 weeks, if not longer. Is that town hall meeting consultative or clarificatory?
It's both. It's consultative, it's clarificatory. That's why the key implementers Secretary Anyo is important because all these border controls are within his area. I think when we talk about the and of course Secretary Duque is there, so it's both, no, and I think as we clear issues, as we give suggestions, hopefully we come out of that meeting united and ready to face Delta and make sure that it's 2 weeks. Now, of course, Cito, in the end, the numbers will judge whether it will be 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever it is. No, so we really have to do our best.
Yeah, as far as the private sector is concerned, and I respect that, you can only do what's within your purview. Now, your primary agenda is to control, maybe slow down, if not, do, as you call it, the circuit breaker. The Octa Research Group called it the circuit breaker. You have declared that the private sector, wants to use that of the 2-week period an opportunity to vaccinate. But if it goes beyond the 2 weeks, what will be the position of the private sector if the IATF and the OHS, sorry guys, it's not going to be 2 weeks, it's going to be 4?
Well, we will have to basically follow it. The numbers will speak for itself. As I was saying, that what would we rather save, no? This month, August, which is a rainy month, or we would rather save the fourth quarter, which can break the backs of many of our entrepreneurs, because that's when they recover most of their losses or increase their profits to build the reserves and all of that. No? So it's very clear. The fourth quarter is the most important quarter of any entrepreneur. And now, it all depends on how we are able to do it, no? And that's why I said it's a lot of effort. The mayors will be there as well to answer questions, and let's pray that it does work. Now, a lockdown is not the solution. It cannot be a permanent solution. Eventually, the goal is to vaccinate close to 100%. Now, with this type of variant now, you are not looking only at 70%. You have to target 100% ideally, or close to that, 90%, to really ensure that we can live with this virus. And when everybody is fully vaccinated, then the country will be much, much safer. We don't need to do lockdowns anymore. We will just have to manage and ensure that everybody continues to be vaccinated. And that's the way of the future. And look at Israel. That's what they're moving towards too. But we can't go. We have to get there first.
Yeah, Joey, you're the only person, if not one of the few persons I know, who has expressed concern about the possibility or probability of a pandemic of the unvaccinated. You're worried that the ones who will get hit and hurt by Delta are the unvaccinated. And yet, when we monitor, very few people have grabbed on or latched on to your warning, and there is little done to essentially either motivate or penalize people who still won't get vaccinated. Because, we've talked about this in the past. Other countries have said, no vaccine, no work. No vaccine, no going out. No vaccination, no traveling, etc. And yet, we're not doing that in the Philippines.
There are two types of people who have not been vaccinated. Those who want to get the vaccine but cannot get it because of a lack of supply right now. Because according to Secretary Galvez, definitely the demand has gone up. So the supply is coming in. You can see it. Moderna and all of that, and Astra and everything. It's coming in. So we have to satisfy that before we penalize the unvaccinated who just don't want to be vaccinated. And you can see other countries moving on that direction. And I believe eventually the Philippines will grant more mobility to the vaccinated people.
Okay.
But we have to achieve that first.
Okay, last question, Joey, before we run out of time. Is the government ever going to give itself a deadline on vaccination and the vaccine supply, because while other countries have an abundance of vaccines, here the impression, and I'm clarifying this, the impression is we're waiting for donations and private sector purchases and the minimum purchases of government. It's like it's not an all-out effort. Put all the money in there so we can get this done by the end of the year. What do you know of this situation?
In fairness to Secretary Galvez, he has done his best. In fact, they have secured a huge order for Pfizer, Moderna, and they're all coming in. In the case of Novavax, you can see what happened. No, they placed an order, but of course, India shut down. And even in our case, in AstraZeneca, we had a 3-week delay. And we're praying that Thailand doesn't get into trouble with the current Delta now they're facing, because then our vaccines that are scheduled to be arriving in August might be affected. But I got word from AstraZeneca, it looks okay. We will be getting the delivery on August. But what about September, October, November, December? We still don't have visibility there. Our orders have been placed last year, but I'm still confident that if nothing goes wrong with Thailand and it becomes another India, then we should get our vaccine. So there are many elements that people don't realize, that everybody in the world wants vaccines. Not every country is able to get the vaccine. So I think by and large, Secretary Galvez has done a good job in trying to secure these vaccines, and they will all be coming in. Of course, now we're seeing more people wanting to take the vaccines, and that is good, no? Because maybe they're scared now of Delta. And we will not relent. No, the private sector is there, and we're pushing hard. Rigirazon with Moderna, so we're moving all together as one. And in the end, we really want to not only save the livelihoods, but the lives of people. And that's why we're concerned with the unvaccinated, that they can get infected. And now even CDC announces that even the vaccinated may get infected, but they'll become asymptomatic. So even the vaccinated definitely will not land in the hospital with severe infection, but they can still infect. No? So that's the latest finding of CDC. But nevertheless, it is still better to take the vaccine to protect you from death, severe infection, and all of that.
Well, we're counting on you, Joey. You've always been devoted to this with Ricky Rason, the private sector, to get the vaccines. And please, just a point of clarification: it's not a criticism towards Charlie Galvez or Secretary Galvez. It is really, a sense of desperation felt by people, and the lack of information, because people need to know whether there is really a push or not. In any case, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us, and hope to join you on Wednesday for your town hall meeting.
I'll see you.
Thank you very much.
I'll see you. Thank you.
Okay, that, ladies and gentlemen, is Joey Concepcion, Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship, but he might as well be SAR for the out-of-the-box solution against COVID-19. I'm Cito Beltran, thanking you for joining us here on channels 8 and 250 of Cignal TV. We are One News. Have a good day. God bless all of you.
Morning, Jay. Okay ka na ito, si Akong papanik na rin daw.